Your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And RF Group, money at work.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 22nd day of September 2021. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you celebrated one over the past few days, like our good friend, Mr. Kirk Lee, who celebrated a birthday yesterday, and also Mr. Stephen McDermott. Some of you may know him as Derms, also celebrated a birthday. We want to wish both of them a belated happy birthday as well. For those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our extreme, sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing as well. And in those condolences, we want to send out special condolences to the family of the late Dr. Linda McField, all of her family and friends as well. She certainly will be missed by everyone. So special condolences to her family and her friends as well. For those of you who are not feeling well today, whether you're at home or if you're at a medical facility, or even if you're quarantining as a result of COVID-19, we wish for you a speedy recovery as well. So folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. Beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson waiting to take your calls. You can call us on a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord, at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261, and of course you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. COVID-19 update issued yesterday, 21st of September. As of 3 p.m. yesterday, the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John New, reported that there had been no further update since the last report was issued in the morning. At that morning update, there were 3 positive tests from the community. Vaccination clinics were closed on Monday, the 20th of September as well. Just want to advise you also that we will have members of the opposition in the studio with us after the 8 o'clock news. We expect to have the leader of the opposition, Honorable Roy McTaggart, and MP Mr. David Wight in the studio with us as well. Meanwhile, I'm happy. I am actually thrilled to have back in the studio with me this morning none other than Dr. Steve McField, and I know many of you have been asking about him. Where is he? When is he going to be back on? Well, folks, he's on this morning with us, and I want to say welcome to him. And Doc, I want you to tell us how things are going in terms of getting everything straightened up around your huge property that you have, and also whether or not, based on what has been happening in the community as far as the spread of COVID-19 is concerned, whether or not you have made any adjustments to your lifestyle as a result of that. Doc?
Thank you for asking me to come back on your show, and thank you. I would like to say good morning to all of the people in the For the Record land, and all the people in the Cayman diaspora, and all other people who listens to you around the world, locally and around the world every day. I know my son listens to you too. He keeps up to date with everything in America, where he is working as a surgeon. And I would also like to send out my condolences to my cousins for the loss of their mother, wife, and friend, family. So Dr. Linda McField was an icon, and she reminds me of the some of the lyrics to the great song that Frank Sinatra made popular, and also sang it on many occasions. That and now that the end is near, and so forth. She was a great icon, and I would like to say that she's going to be missed. She had a great fan base, based on what I see on the media, and it's one of those things I think that we have to all go through. But I know that she was prepared. She had been prepared herself for the eventuality. And I would like to say, from my family to the other family, for the rest of the family, my condolence to the passing of Dr. Linda McField. I have been working around my property. The only thing that I have now that is a problem now is getting rid of all of the huge tree the trees that I cut up. I bought one of those big powerful saws from RT. Like you said, I should go and get one. I followed you. In fact, I got into the store just after you left. You had left about 5 minutes. Wow. And as I got into the store, the gentleman says, "Oh yes, Orrett say that you were coming." And he showed me the saw that you suggested. And it's a big, powerful, so you have to be so careful with it. Yes, it will cut you off. Yes. So the thing is to get rid of all of those things. So I think I'm going to cut them up in pieces, and keep them around my yard. I think make some sort of display around the yard. I still have lots of work to do.
Other countries, if you, especially those that have the winter season, real cold. And fireplaces and stuff like that would be used to, for fireplace. I felt so badly about so much of the wood just going to waste. Just wasted. Some of them real hard wood, like for instance the wood from the Nisberry tree. That is solid hard wood. And in Vancouver, when I lived there, every year at the PNE, the Pacific National Exhibition, they have a competition with wood carving with all of the men who work in the wood industry, in the pulp and paper industry, cutting down the logging industry. Carving with a power saw, carving the wood with a power saw. I wish I had learned to do that, because I could have made some images and stuff with a power saw. As far as adjustments in my life, I have made some adjustments in my life. I have protected my office with a plexiglass in all of the offices, so that people sitting across now are protected by a plexiglass between myself and them and the office. I also have bought a lot of the different hand wash. I'm not promoting any particular shop, but Himalaya right across here has some beautiful smells. If you want to get them, you can keep them in your car. They just opened recently. The building is just completely.
They just remove openly, but they were done in Elizabethan Square.
That's right. Yes.
Now they just open a larger place, and they have lots of great smells. You can buy from them. It's not very expensive. And so that's what I've done. And I wear a mask too in public. When I go to public places like restaurants or the bank or something like that, I do that. And
in court, has anything changed? Are you still in-person cases? Nothing.
You still have to wear the mask when you go to court. When you go to court, you still have to wear the mask. I was in a court of appeal. I was in a court of appeal last Tuesday, And we have to wear the mask before the court appeal. The judges, of course, they wear the mask, but the lawyers have to wear the mask, and their clients have to wear the mask to get into the court.
Okay.
That's a new change, and so it's been a big turnaround for us. A lot of people don't like it because we have been so fortunate for over a year now. We have been mask free. We have been gathering in places and going to games and going to restaurants, and I actually thought that we were exceptional and that we would never get to this point where we have community spread and where we have people in the hospital, because remember, all through the thick of the pandemic, we never had any Caymanians who were local people who were hospitalized because of COVID-19. Today now we are on the brink of something that we do not understand, that may and of course you see it may operate against us financially, politically, and socially. And of course you see the debates now in the media between the opposition and other people, and they're speaking about the government's position, and I wonder and where that's going to lead us, because you sent me a few articles that I read about people in other jurisdictions that have mandated the vaccine, and so I wonder at what level of infection and how many deaths will have to be attributed to the vaccine here that would trigger the decision to mandate the vaccine in Cayman.
Okay,
and that is something that I would like to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we hope to have that discussion sometime today. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. In other words, how many people would have to be infected, and how many people would have to die before we mandate vaccine? And then the question would be, what would be the economic, social, and political and constitutional principles results of such a vaccine mandate in the country if it was made. Yeah. All of those things we would have to take into account. So it should be an interesting show this morning.
Definitely.
Depends on what the opposition has to say about it.
So true. Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, on Monday's show, someone wanted to know about the census, whether or not the census would still take place and what protocols would be in place. And I must say that Mr. Adolphus Laidlaw got in contact with me and provided me with details. Of course, there's a press release as well, but I'm going to read from his email because he took the time to respond to For the Record after I put it out there on Monday, if anyone was listening, to let us know what the position was with the census and what protocols would be in place. So when we return, I will share Mr. Laidlaw's response with you. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the historical vignette series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Harry Edison Glidden, 1901-1905. Captain Harry was a respected resident of West Bay. At the age of 17, under the auspices of his father, Henry London Ebanks, he went to sea. On these voyages, his father taught him the art of navigation. Within a few years, he obtained employment as a master mariner. In 1937, he joined his brother, Donald, as caretaker of Swan Island, where he spent the next 30 years in the employ of first the United Fruit Company and later the United States government. During his years on Swan Island, he provided employment for many Caymanians, including work on vessels, stopping there to pick up or drop off cargo. He and his wife, Flory Nee Ebanks, were active members of the Wesleyan Holiness Church of West Bay. Captain Harry contributed generously to the work of the church, both giving time and providing financial assistance. He was a loving father to his daughter and a generous philanthropist.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
We are island people. We know that hurricane season means preparation now ahead of time, being ready ahead of the fury of nature we cannot control. Preparation that can make the difference between life and death. injury and safety, the misery of loss, the regret of procrastination. Know this now. Hurricane safety begins with you. It's your responsibility and mine. Your medicine, your valuable documents, your water, your place of safety during the storm. Your preparation now will directly determine your outcome during and after the storm. Prepare now. A message from Rotary Central. We serve to change lives.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Breakfast is back this Saturday, September 25, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. Enjoy a tasty Caribbean breakfast of fried fish and fritters, liver and onions, ackee and saltfish, as well as turtle gumbo, starting at only $12. Come out, help support your community. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman support sight screening, prostate and colon cancer awareness, Miss Teens, spelling bee, and so much more. Get your Caribbean breakfast and support the Lions Club of Grand Cayman in their community efforts this Saturday, September 25, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. To better protect the community, hand sanitizer will be available and Caribbean breakfast lovers should wear a mask.
System downloaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. I promised that I would share with you the information from the Economics and Statistics Unit. They're conducting the census, and we had a question on Monday in relation to the census and about persons in quarantine. I reached out on air, and Mr. Adolphus Laidlow was kind enough to respond. And some people talk about the civil service and they don't do things and they don't get back to you. Well, he certainly did, and I would say that what he has done here is indicative of probably 99% of the civil service in terms of responding. Not everyone is always happy with what they do or the answer that they may get from civil servants, but they're all dedicated. They're most of them they're dedicated. So Mr. Laidlaw said, thanks for reaching out to us on air this morning. We are rolling out information on Census 2021 protocols for households in quarantine beginning this week. The Population and Housing Census 2021 will be conducted as planned. Designated Census Day on 10th of October, with enumeration starting on the 11th of October. So Census Day is the 10th of October, and immediately after that, on the 11th, enumeration will start. Goes on to say approximately 400 enumerators will simultaneously knock on the doors of households across the Cayman Islands to collect population and housing data from all residents. Enumerators are already trained to knock on the door of the household in a remote corner, then step back about 6 feet from the door before introducing themselves to the household. Enumerators will also carry hand sanitizers to disinfect their hands before enumerating the next household. Each enumerator will be wearing a mask and will offer disposable masks to households if none is available for their use during the interview. Enumerators will always wear Census 2021 identifiers, Census shirts, Census bags, Census IDs, in addition to Census tablets. Households are not required to touch any of the Census materials during the interview. On the 26th of September 2021, Travel Cayman will begin distributing the Census Protocol COVID-19 quarantine information cards to households in quarantine and incoming travelers. If a resident is in COVID-19 quarantine, the resident will show the card given to them by the Travel Cayman team, and the enumerator who will bypass the household interview and no attempt will be made to conduct a face-to-face Census 2021 interview. I'm going to repeat that part again because I think this is very important. If a resident is in COVID-19 quarantine, the resident will show the card given to them by the Travel Cayman team to the enumerator, who will bypass the household interview, and no attempt will be made to conduct a face-to-face Census 2021 interview. The card given to the households in quarantine contains all the information needed to be counted on Census 2021. Residents in possession of the Census 2021 information card will then follow the information on the card to contact using the ESO hotline, that's the Economics and Statistics Office hotline, 516-3329, phone or WhatsApp, or text the ESO/Census office within 24 hours or as soon as possible to arrange a telephone interview or set an appointment date for a face-to-face interview upon completion of quarantine. The Census 2021 information card is, and they attach that for a reference. So everything is in place in relation to that. So, and it appears if a person is in quarantine, they will show the card that has been given to them by Travel Cayman that they're in quarantine. They will be bypassed by the census taker, but there are provisions then for them via telephone and electronic media to be in touch with the Economics and Statistics Census Office within 24 hours or as soon as is possible after that to arrange a telephone interview or to arrange for the person to be interviewed at a date for face-to-face upon the completion of their quarantine as well. I want to thank Mr. Laidlow for passing that information on. And like I say, there is a press release issued in that regard as well, and I will share that with you. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back. When we return, we should have in the studio, not office, in the studio with us, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Roy McTaggart, and MP, Mr. David Wight. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time at Foster's is 7:59.
When you're on the go, let the Island Supermarket shop for you.
To start, head to fosters.ky/go.
Then shop all of your favorite products online, from produce and seafood to grocery and frozen, all picked by our team of shoppers ready to go.
Choose next day curbside pickup from Foster's Camena Bay or delivery island-wide.
To get your order started, visit fosters.ky/go.
This is Groceries on the Go.
And we are Foster's Go. Shop online anytime.
Voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Please be advised the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 31st of December 2021. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The census is coming up in October, and the organizing team says field workers will observe COVID-19 quarantine protocols. Radio Cayman's April Cummings reports.
Census 2021 officially starts on the 10th of October, and the next day, on the 11th, some 400 census enumerators will start visiting households all across the Cayman Islands. They have been trained to strictly follow protocols around places of quarantine during the Cayman Islands population and housing data count. Enumerators will avoid any contact with people in quarantine, and to help make that easier, on Sunday, September 26th, Travel Cayman will begin distributing Census Protocol COVID-19 quarantine information cards to households in quarantine and all incoming travelers. So if a resident is in quarantine, he or she will show the quarantine protocol card to the mask-wearing enumerator visiting their household, so they don't try to conduct a census interview in person. The enumerators have been trained to knock on the door of a household and step back 6 feet from the door before introducing themselves. They will be wearing distinctive census shirts, carrying census bags and IDs, and they'll be using their census tablets to record interview information. Households are not required to touch any of the census materials during the interview. A resident who is in a COVID-19 quarantine will show the card to the enumerator. Upon seeing the card, the enumerator will leave the premises, thereby bypassing the household interview. No attempt will be made to conduct a face-to-face Census 2021 interview with that household at that time. Instead, the process will either be conducted by phone or at a convenient time in person after the quarantine period is complete. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
The latest control of COVID-19 regulations gazetted Tuesday night relate mostly to travel to and from the islands. The document outlines the requirements for unvaccinated and vaccinated travelers. For example, only Caymanians and residents, along with their children or a person traveling with them, are allowed to enter the country if they are unvaccinated. They'll be subject to a 14-day quarantine, along with the norms such as presenting a negative PCR test within 72 hours of travel and additional screening if necessary from the medical officer of health. Vaccinated travelers now have a 7-day quarantine period, and they can include tourists once their vaccines are verifiable. The regulations go into a lot more detail and can be viewed online at gazettes.gov.ky.
I am happy to announce that the booster program is having what you might call a soft start.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee says government is rolling out the first stage of the COVID booster program, an additional dose of the vaccine recommended for the most vulnerable or those at risk.
We are calling forward by personal invitation anybody who is severely at risk, an at-risk individual, to come forward for booster, and next week we will advise for the larger program for all of those who are over 50 years old or who are clinically compromised or vulnerable in some way.
Health officials will contact those eligible, so there is no need to contact the HSA or public health. The booster is only recommended for those whose second dose of the COVID vaccine was more than 6 months ago. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith.
The UN says it's giving $45 million in emergency funds to Afghanistan in the hope of preventing the collapse of the country's healthcare system. It says the injection of cash will keep basic healthcare facilities operating until the end of the year. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has promised a strong response after one of his top aides survived an assassination attempt. Speaking from the UN in New York, Mr. Zelensky said he had no idea who was behind the attack. The government in the Democratic Republic of Congo says it's arrested a Jordanian national for alleged ties to an Islamist militia in the east of the country. There's been concern that the Islamic State group has been trying to strengthen ties with the rebel ADF, blamed for carrying out frequent attacks against civilians. Donald Trump has sued the New York Times and his niece for $100 million over an article about his wealth based on confidential tax records. The suit accuses them of plotting to obtain sensitive documents motivated by a personal vendetta. In response, Mary Trump described her estranged uncle as a loser. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Are you aware of the performance of your pension plan? The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan provides quarterly fund fact sheets for our members to stay informed with the plan performance. For the year ended 30th of April 2021, the various life cycle funds have provided returns between 10.5% and 43.2%. And our all-in expense ratio for year ended 30th of June 2020 is currently the lowest it's ever been, 0.72%. Visit chamberpension.ky to review our fund fact sheets. You can see the performance as far back as 10 years. Remember that pensions are a longer-term investment strategy. Focus on the long term rather than the short-term returns. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan continues to perform for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
We are island people. We know that hurricane season means preparation now ahead of time, being ready ahead of the fury of nature we cannot control. Preparation that can make the difference between life and death, injury and safety, the misery of loss, the regret of procrastination. Know this now. Hurricane safety begins with you. It's your responsibility and mine. Your medicine, your valuable documents, your water, your place of safety during the storm. Your preparation now will directly determine your outcome during and after the storm. Prepare now. A message from Rotary Central. We serve to change lives.
For the Health of It is heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. It is brought to you by Holy Cross Health, quality medical care and advanced technology with sincere compassion and understanding. Our mission is you. Call 1-954-351-5906. Email globalservices@holy-cross.com or visit Holy Cross Health at holy-cross.com.
To all of our essential workers who are dedicated to caring for us during COVID-19, please remember that caring for yourself is important too. Use appropriate PPE and practice social distancing whenever possible. Take breaks. Take care of yourself and take care of each other. Remember, we are strong, we are resilient, and we will continue to get through this together. For more information on COVID-19, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Pan American Life Insurance Group can help you take your employee benefit solution to the next level. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted PALIG because we've always delivered on our promise. PALIG is the only insurer providing group policies to as few as 3 employees and has the ability to combine life, health, disability, and income protection to provide you and your employees with the complete employee benefits package. Let us customize your employee benefits solution today. Call us at 949-8304 or visit our office at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, or visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 77%. The barometric pressure is 29.90 inches and rising. The winds are calm. Overnight low temperature was 80 degrees. Synopsis indicate the Cayman area can expect light winds and slight to smooth seas over the next few days due to a weak pressure gradient across the Caribbean. Isolated showers are likely as an upper-level cyclone lingers over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated shower activity in and around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the west-southwest. The National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, is issuing advisories on tropical depressions Peter and Rose. For further details on these systems, you can visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. These systems pose no threat to the Cayman Islands. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Winds will be northeast at 5 knots or less, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. And the forecast for tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of nighttime showers, and temperatures fall into the mid-70s tonight. Winds will be light and variable, and seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 11 minutes past 10, low tide this afternoon at 3 minutes after 4, and a high tide again tonight at 9:56. The sun will set this evening at 6:20, and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:15. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday evening, with light and variable winds and smooth seas expected from tomorrow evening. That's the very latest on your weather report.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
We at Pan American Life Insurance Group are here to help you protect your family and your income. For more than 110 years, millions of people have trusted Palig because we have always delivered on our promise. Life insurance is not only about death, but also about living benefits. We'll help you secure the life insurance, accident and sickness disability income you need to protect you and your family. Call us today at 949-8304 or visit our office, Unit 221 Cannon Place East, North Song Road, or visit www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times it can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, tell a friend. Having an accountability partner is often helpful in achieving your goals. Let your parents and partner know what you are planning or doing. Sharing with others also helps us to develop the ideas and our vision. Writing down your goals can help to solidify them for you and help you to stay accountable.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at how your traffic is shaping up this morning. On the Linford Pearson Highway, traffic is busy, coming off of Agnes Way as well. Steady but flowing traffic on some sections. Cool Road, other sections moderately. And to the east on Rex Crichton Boulevard and further up on Shamrock Road, traffic flowing moderately. Light to moderate traffic flow on Owen Roberts Drive, and steady traffic, nothing to worry about too much on Godfrey Dixon Way, heading towards the traffic light. Coming from the West Bay 4-way stop, moderate flow of traffic, and traffic is flowing moderately as well on North Sound Road. Cool Road, as we said, some sections steady, other sections moderate. That's very latest on your traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report. Have a good morning and buckle up.
Bro, do you really have to eat 2 sandwiches for lunch?
No, but one is for dinner. On Tuesdays at Subway, you can get the 2 subs for any size, plus a fountain drink for the price of 1.
Nah, Bobo, that sounds too good to be true. For real though, 2 subs for the price of 1? And a drink?
Each and every Tuesday now until September 28th. Buy any Subway sandwich in any size and a 32-ounce fountain drink and get an equal or lesser value sub for free. For every 2 for Tuesday purchase, be entered to win one of 3 LG 50-inch 4K smart TVs, a Grill Pro, or one of 2 retro bikes, plus many more prizes. Subway's 2 for Tuesdays is in partnership with Pepsi and Progressive Distributors. Prize drawing is September 30th. Terms and conditions apply. See in store for details. The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Attention!
Family and friends, now hear this.
Le Classique has up to 75% off all shoes for men and women.
Family and friends, call your auntie, call your mother, call your sister. All shoes on sale, 30, 40, and yes, up to 75% off.
Uncle Joe, the man belts on sale too, 40% off. Le Classique Family and Friends sale.
It's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Miss it? Your mother.
Le Classique at the Strand is open 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
Dress for success and demonstrate school pride by learning and following the National Dress Code Policy and the specific dress code for each government school. Under the National Dress Code Policy, boys' hair must be cut short and of natural color. Uniform shirts must be neatly tucked in, undergarments concealed, sneakers or shoes black, and jewelry limited to a wristwatch. Take pride in your stride today. View the complete dress code policy at www.education.gov.ky. This is a message from the Ministry of Education.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
For information that matters. For the Record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Command.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. And first, I must apologize and say that I gave out incorrect information this morning. And no, it wasn't about the census and the protocols. It had to do with who would be appearing on the show this morning. And it is the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Joey Hew, and Mr. David Wight. I think the update that I got it at 2-something this morning, and I was getting ready to go cycling. I must have been still fast asleep when I was reading it, and saw Roy McTaggart rather than Joey Hew, so my apologies. But anyway, we have members of the opposition with us. Gentlemen, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning, Rosie.
Okay.
Good morning, K-Man.
Mr. Deputy Leader, I'm going to throw the mic right over to you because I know that you have to leave early as well.
Thank you, Osi, and good morning. Good morning, Dr. McField. Certainly a pleasure to be back here today and to be with my colleague, Mr. Wight. Osi, we were here a week ago, and we've seen 2 pieces of, when we were speaking about the COVID outbreak we've had recently, we've seen 2 pieces of, or 2 separate gazettals on, I think it was on travel to the Sister Islands and capacities on boats. Yes. And then we had one released last night outlining the new quarantine regime going forward until I think November 21st or 22nd. I remember reading that. So it seems that is where we are now with the response to the recent local transmissions and the pausing of the border opening. One can only speculate that they've set the date for the November 20th is an opportunity for them to review whether they have to take the border closing to the end of the year or into the first quarter next year, whether they can have a soft opening during the Christmas and aim to take advantage of the second part of the tourism season being the first quarter of next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy this morning to say that we have been invited to an update from Dr. Lee tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, great.
And so we'll be meeting with the Chamber of Commerce tomorrow, and then we will also be meeting with Dr. Lee tomorrow. So that's a good start. That we'll have that opportunity to hear from Dr. Lee and hopefully others as to what the plans are and how we can assist in moving us forward.
Okay. And this meeting with Dr. Lee, this will be exclusively for the opposition, or?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
That is my understanding. So I think that's a good start. I also noticed that the government have met with the Chamber of Commerce and a few other groups. I also noticed the offer of help from the medical community in Dr. Tomlinson's message. And so I hope that the government will take the opportunity to work with those persons. Interestingly enough, Dr. Tomlinson called for a council as well in his message. But I can appreciate that. You're the government of the day. I do hope, like I said, that they will work along with groups like the Chamber, as they have been with the Cayman Islands Tourism Association, and also with the local medical fraternity, and perhaps get them a bit more involved. Whenever I speak about the vaccines in particular, I was just having a conversation this morning with one of my constituents. I always say to them, go and see your doctor. Have a discussion with your doctor. Do you believe in doctors? Do you go to the doctor when you're sick? If yes, then go see your doctor and have a discussion about the vaccine, see whether it's right for you. So I do believe that the medical community should be a bit more involved as well, and hopefully going forward that will certainly be the case. So it's, this, as I said earlier, this is not an easy decision. This is a very difficult time for the government. Will opening our borders take some real political will? Yes, it will. Will the handling of this opening of the borders or this particular outbreak of COVID in the community be a defining moment for the government? I believe it will. And it is our responsibility as duly elected members and as opposition to ensure that the government is doing what we think is in the best interest of all of our people, and the people that elected us in particular. And so with all the back and forth, I'm happy to say again that we will be getting an update from Dr. Lee, and hopefully that'll be a regular occurrence starting this Thursday.
Okay, that's commendable. That's a positive move because everyone can contribute, can make a contribution. To us being successful in this fight against COVID. And before I throw the mic back over to you, Dr. Tomlinson, I listened to his interview on Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne, and one of the points that he made that I found to be so convincing was the fact that despite the fact that he has certain views in terms of the type of vaccine and other issues, the point that he made was that he is a doctor. He's been a doctor in the Cayman Islands for several decades. He has a following. He has a constituents of his own, and there are people, especially older Caymanians, who believe in Dr. T, who believe in Dr. Tomlinson. I would say, and he'll say, to a certain extent, to respect his views, and he, to a certain extent, would have some influence over them, or at least be able to explain to them, talk to them, and possibly convince them, those that may have doubts about about being vaccinated, as well. And I would imagine that there are others, either in the medical field or in the community, who can make that contribution as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are absolutely right. Dr. Tomlinson does have, and we both know a lot of certainly in my constituency, a lot of the elderly people that really hold Dr. Tomlinson in high regard and will go and see no other doctor.
Yes.
Even if they do take advantage of Cineco and go to the hospital, they'll still go and check with Dr. Tomlinson to make sure that they're getting the right treatment. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree with you 100%. And like I said, I think we have to now look forward. I think it's time to move forward. I continue to pray that those who have been affected by the recent outbreak, that they can get their lives back to normal fairly quickly. I have a few points that concerns I want to raise in that issue. And that as we approach, I heard you yesterday were talking about the 14-day incubation period. As we approach the next couple of days, we all keep our fingers crossed and our prayers that this is the extent of the outbreak. And then what we have to do now, OC, is we have to plan to move forward. I think one of the failures as a country that we've done, and the government will put it in their lap, in moving forward to a reopening, is that we have to be able to tell our people, we have to learn from this outbreak and say, okay, what do we need to fix? Is it our health services authority? Is there shortcomings there in dealing with an outbreak? Because we've all accepted that once we open, we will have locally transmitted cases. So what have we learned from this? Is it our health services authority that we need to work with? Is it our communication strategy that we need to work with? What should be put in place once we open? How are we going to protect the kids? How are we going to protect the most vulnerable? What does that mean for school? Will there be homeschooling for some? Will it be mask mandates in the schools? And then out in the public, will there be mask mandates in public places such as supermarkets, post offices, etc.? What can the people expect once we open? And I think this is an opportunity. I know the government is saying it's a pause. I think it's a restart. I think they started down this road when we went to the 5-day quarantine. They've now gone back to 7 days quarantine until November. So let's take advantage of this opportunity to restart and to inform, to review and analyze what we can do better if we have and when we have another locally transmitted case or an outbreak, and what will be required once we open. And I think we need to start making our people feel comfortable about that. We need to get out there and tell them, listen, we have to reopen. Everybody's saying that at some point. When we do reopen, here's what we're going to do to protect you. Here's what you can expect to happen when we reopen. And so I think right now, we are here again, willing to help, and I thank the government for inviting us on Thursday to meet with Dr. Lee, but I think the emphasis now and the focus now has to be on how to move forward and how do we learn from the last couple of weeks.
Okay, that's a good point for us to take a commercial break. When we return, we will hear from our Member of Parliament, Mr. David Wight, as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
West Bay, home to Barkas National Park, the touristy flair, a family community, a political powerhouse. From sports enthusiasts to car aficionados, affection for silver thatch rope. No matter how far you may venture, West Bay will always be where the heart is. Home will always be in West Bay. West Bay Pharmacy, caring for your home and your family. West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient, quality care is just around the corner.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed. That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers and the motoring public of planned works to upgrade the water supply infrastructure along Palmdale Avenue, Success Circle, Nevard Close, and Damascus Close. Preliminary work will begin the week of 6th September. Work will take place weekdays between 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. The project will last for approximately 12 to 15 weeks. During the course of the works, traffic management measures will be in place, with signs directing the traffic flow. Motorists are encouraged to drive with caution when they are in the area to protect their safety and the safety of the Water Authority's staff. Customers in the area may experience service outages throughout the work. The authority will make every effort to give advanced notice related to outages. Customers can visit our website www.waterauthority.ky for outage notices. The Water Authority appreciates the patience and understanding of its customers and the public as it undertakes these works and apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause.
You can now register to receive a securely verified digital copy of your COVID-19 vaccination status with QR code through the My HSA Patient portal. Sign up is available at all HSA locations and at various sites throughout the community. To register, all you need is your photo ID showing date of birth and a valid email address. Visit hsa.ky and click My HSA Patient portal for the sign-up schedule and more information.
System 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, Dr. Steve McField. We also have the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Member of Parliament, Honourable Joey Hew, and also Member of Parliament, Mr. David Wight as well. Mr. Wight, over to you. Good to see you back in the studio again. Welcome.
You, Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the Deputy Leader of the Opposition for everything he just said, and he went into it deeply, so I don't think there's too much more to say on that topic, but I would like to just say that we and everyone, the first concern should be for the good of the Cayman people, for Cayman and especially the children. So when it comes to advice, I think we should all take every advice that we get, take it on board and deal with it. And before we came on air, Mr. Steve McField and I were having a nice conversation about sports. So I'd like to compare everything to sports. And I mean, if I was, okay, I'm an Arsenal supporter. If I was made manager of Arsenal, as much as I dislike Man United, they were very successful, especially under Sir Alex Ferguson. If he came to me to offer me advice, I would jump at it to try help my team. So if this government is in charge and we as the opposition or the medical field is offering advice, I think the government should take everything on board, look at it, decide what they think is best and work with it. I mean, that's the only way forward, and that's what will help Cayman through this pandemic.
Okay, so the whole idea is that it is really not, it shouldn't be a partisan issue when it comes, to dealing with it. Mr. Deputy Leader, then what do we say to the remarks that are being made that when the PPM was in government, that they didn't seek the advice or input from the opposite side?
When we made major changes to the regulations, we ensured that we notified. In fact, we had, on a few occasions, had the leader of the opposition, Mr. McLean, in the cabinet room with us. And then on other occasions, we called him in on the phone and we discussed the changes that were coming up in the regulations. Mm-hmm. So, we did our part, and I think they made it public at that time as well that they were supporting what the government was doing, and we were going to work towards going forward as a country in dealing with it. So, that is the way we dealt with it. We didn't have this issue. I don't think at any time you heard any back and forth between the opposition and the government during the entire time. It wasn't because the opposition weren't doing their job. It was because we were working together for the betterment of the country.
Mm-hmm. I know you said that there's some other topics that you want to discuss, and I have a few more questions, and I'll just lay this one out, and at some point in time you can, both of you can speak to it. And it has to do with the fact that despite the fact that you're not in government, you still have a constituency that you represent. And I am sure that there are still questions, concerns, even demands that are being made by your constituents. And I'd like you to explain to our audience what you're doing within your community at the same time, in terms of giving advice about COVID or anything else, and talk about your work within your constituencies.
Well, nearly daily we get concerns from our constituency, and I'll go to our leader, I'll go to other people, even to the medical field, to ask advice that I can give them. But quite often a lot of people who are, even if they just start to feel sick, they'll come and they'll ask what they can do or whatever. But when this COVID pandemic first hit Cayman, it was the progressives that were in the government. So we had to start from the beginning. We had to deal with it from the beginning. We went through over a year and we got all the advice, and we had the experience of dealing with it from the beginning. So I think it can only help everybody if all the advice that is given to the government or given to anybody who's going to deal with it, they listen to us and they listen to the medical field. But we hear it daily from everybody, not only in Georgetown West, but I get requests and people asking me for help and advice from other constituencies as well.
Okay. And as you know, OC, my constituency, Georgetown North, was heavily affected by the Georgetown Primary School outbreak. And again, when I was in last week, I congratulated the country and the amount of people that responded to the government's call to come into the school to be tested. And the response was fantastic. Those persons, not just parents, but extended family, grandparents, many of them live within the same street or within the same compound, and friends of family all went in to be tested, and then were told you have to go into 14-day quarantine. It took several days and up to 6 days in some instances for persons to be contacted by public health to say what their results were There was a lot of misinformation as to whether they had to remain at home after they received their results, if they were positive or negative, what was next. But overall, everyone has been very, very cooperative. Mm-hmm. Over the weekend, the public health sent out some groceries using the regiment. They sent it to the parents of Georgetown Primary School kids. That's who they had in their contact. But unfortunately, as I said, there were many grandparents, friends, neighbors who were also forced into compulsory 14-day quarantine that did not receive any help. And so we've been trying to reach out and find out who they are, that we can try and get some groceries, some provisions. Remember, these folks went in just for testing and then were sent back home to quarantine. They were not prepared. It wasn't like they went out to travel and on my, before I come back, somebody go and buy me groceries. Let me make sure I have a little money, whatever the case is. This happened as if, literally they woke up one morning and all of this happened within that day. So we're doing our best to get out there and find out, who was missing and those who need help. The other issue I have, or my constituents have, and I've been hearing from them, and I would like, this is not a criticism of the government, I would just like the government to address it, is that many of those in quarantine, their employers have told them they will not be paying them. So you have a situation where, because I don't think any of them have been given a formal letter to say that you are in mandatory quarantine, some have sent their test results and things that to show that they went to prove that they're not taking advantage of the situation, staying home for 2 weeks. The other part of it is that the concern I have is they have now run out of money, so they can't even send people out to buy groceries or food. And secondly, at the end of the month, when they've spent 2 weeks at home, where are they going to find funds without a paycheck? Where are they going to find monies to pay rent, electricity, etc.? So we're going to have there are going to be some difficult days ahead for many of my constituents and many of those who are in the Georgetown Primary Catchment Basin. And that's something I hope the government will be able to address quickly. They're not going to be able to go to NAU and wait 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, 8 weeks to get a response. They're going to need help immediately. And I think this is no fault of theirs. And I'm not putting the blame on the government either. But I do believe the government has some responsibility here to take care of those persons. And I think also when we talk about learning lessons going forward, if this happens again, what is the government's policy as far as employment? Is this now considered sick leave? Is this considered mandatory by the government, therefore the employer should cover the cost of the salaries? How do we protect persons? It's no fault of theirs again, but how do we protect them? How do we assist them when this happens again? So there's even more, I think, had quite a bit of representation because of this latest outbreak from persons who feel that they're not being protected in their workplace. And I'm talking about persons who are unable to take the vaccine. So those persons are still being forced to go to work, still being forced to go into an office where there are no mask mandates, where there are no social distancing. How do we protect those individuals as well? One individual sent me an email where they were told, if you do not come to work, you will be fired. The person is immune deficient because she has several intestinal diseases and is unable to take, her doctors highly recommend that she do not take the vaccine. How are people like that protected? So, these are some issues that the government need to address, and some of the lessons that we've learned from this most recent outbreak that we need to find solutions for going forward.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, Mr. Deputy Leader, you spoke about getting information about those families who are indirectly affected, by the quarantine requirement. And my question would be, how do you go about getting information without running afoul of the data protection legislation? Do you rely on government, or do you provide a contact information for those persons in your constituency who may be affected, by it, and then you possibly could have some way of verifying that is the case, so that you can either point them in the right direction or point some assistance towards them as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware, custom designed closet and storage solutions, organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed. That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean, and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointments.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me, in addition to Dr. Steve McField, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honourable Joey Hew, and Member of Parliament, Mr. David Wight. Over to you, Mr. Deputy Leader.
Yeah. You asked a question before we went on the break. Regarding how would we protect the identity of persons? So I think that might have been the reason why we were not called upon to actually go out and deliver or help in delivering the supplies over the weekend. But I think what I was alluding to earlier is that I believe that list, I may be wrong, but I understood that list was provided, the children from Georgetown Primary names were provided to public health, and then they looked up the addresses of those who had been tested and their families. So again, the parents or the home in which the child lives received the support. But where persons who perhaps had the child over or engaged in a play date or a birthday party or football practice, or grandparents or uncles and aunts who usually cared, or the caretakers for the child after school, those persons were not identified through the child's name, just the household that the child lived in. So, and I think that the public health is probably given a list to go and check on people in quarantine, and it's not. There was no need earlier to differentiate between a person who's returning from vacation or medical treatment or from dropping their kids off to school, versus this group who were put into a 14-day quarantine because of the outbreak at the school. So I think, again, a lesson learned that when this happens, that a person, due to circumstances, have been put into quarantine for 14 days or whatever, how many days they go into quarantine, that the government identifies them separately, that they can have proper welfare checks done on those individuals.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Mr.
Well, I would agree with that too, and as he said, over the years, people in Georgetown West have come to know my phone number, so they call. And a case, for example, was on Saturday, when we were told that the NAU was going to deal with the hazard management and the regiment in doing it, so we weren't going to have to do it, Yes, and I got a call from a family who said that they needed supplies. So when I called the Health Service Authority and spoke to the lady there, she said she looked it up and she said she didn't see the name of the child, the father, or the grandmother. So she asked me for the address and the name and everything. Later on that night, pretty late too, the grandmother called me and she was thanking me that, she got the supplies. So if people are finding that they have their children at Georgetown Primary and they didn't receive, they know how to get hold of us. So that's the best way to deal with it.
Yeah, I have to also recognize and acknowledge that I had a couple of phone calls from persons who did not receive the groceries. And I called HMCI actually, not is it HMCI?
Hazard Management.
Hazard Management. Yes, I called Hazard Management, and they too also organized to have some supplies dropped off to those persons. So I do want to recognize and acknowledge that, once we found those individuals have reached out to us, we reached out to the government, and they have provided the support. I'm just worried that there are more that have fallen through the cracks. I did receive a call from one yesterday, and we're organizing some supplies to go to them today. So, again, it's a lesson learned, and the way we have to find a way to ensure that persons don't fall in these cracks. And the other thing is, I can't stress enough, is I'm very concerned about the coming days and weeks when these persons have been in quarantine for the 14 days and will not be receiving a paycheck. That's going to cause a domino effect, and there needs to be easy access to help from the government for these folks.
Okay. And what rules?
I said easy access.
What role can members of Parliament play in that process in terms of helping to identify? Because obviously, they're wanting you to avoid any physical contact for those persons who are in quarantine, but certainly you can be reached by phone, and hopefully those persons will have access to phones as well to get in touch with you. But it appears to me that it's going to take a huge collaboration between the government, the individual who is in quarantine, and their representatives to get that information out there to those persons who are affected. Because it's one thing to be able to get the food, and we're hoping, I would imagine that's going to continue for the full 14-day period. Whether or not it's done on a weekly basis or what, I'm not sure.
But also, there is a concern as well that some of these individuals may test positive at the end of 14 days and then have to do another 14 days. That would be an entire month without a salary. So it's not guaranteed that they're going to test negative at the end of the 14 days. So I think it's imperative on the government to put something in place quickly. And once the government does that, because they can't charge us with, again, you talked about data protection, so they wouldn't be able to give us the person's information to go and check on them or to call them. But if they put out clear communication as to how these persons can receive help, then we have that information that when persons call us, we can say, this is what you do.
Doc, you have any question?
No, I would just like to know how much you think that's going to cost with all those people in quarantine that were not traveling, that have to be in quarantine because of the outbreak scare. How much you think that's going to? That's.
I don't know. I don't think it would be a huge amount of money. We just approved some $50 million a couple of weeks ago for COVID. The vast majority of that was for the COVID-19 pandemic. So they should have the funds for that. It shouldn't be a lot. I think it would be a very easy process. Please provide a job letter stating what your average salary was, and that's it. And then and that you're not being paid. And usually persons, in particular those on hourly salaries, would not normally be paid for things like this. So under the law. So if they can provide that to show, or if they're self-employed and they can show deposit or receipts to show that this is how much money I make when I'm not in quarantine. One particular food vendor comes to mind that makes a living from doing jerk pork and jerk chicken and stuff in the evenings. That person would need to show, hey, this is how much I do average, and then receive some assistance. Again, that person has no employer to turn to for assistance during these hopefully only 14 days.
And I would also imagine that in a case like that, if you're being extremely particular and scrutinizing things, you would want to ensure that business still isn't operating, because if it's operating, let's say the person has employees there, then they still have a source of income. We do have a caller. Let's see if we can grab the caller before we go to our headline news. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC. Good morning to my two colleagues, the Honorable Joey Hew and the Honorable David Wight.
Good morning. Good morning, Minister.
And good morning to Dr. Steve McField.
Good morning, Mr. Minister.
I want to just say that I concur with my colleagues in respect to the realities of what this recent outbreak at Georgetown Primary has made. As you all know, and the listenership know, that we share a lot of constituents there in respect to that school. And much of what has been said by the Deputy Opposition Leader is factual. We have learned a new lesson in respect to what will happen to families, particularly those who are usually living month to month or week to week on respective salaries, and recognizing that there wasn't as much forward thinking in respect to providing for foods and all the necessary needs that one would live with on a day-to-day basis. It's something that the government is well aware of, and we've talked about it. We're trying to put together a plan of how to address that, particularly as the Deputy Opposition Leader has highlighted about potentially through NAU. How do we ensure that these persons get back what they would lose? How do we deal with this moving forward in respect to the employer? How does the employer do that? How does it work in respect to the law? Are they obligated to pay? And make sure that people are not left behind. So ultimately what I'm saying is that, we recognize on the government side as well this reality, and we're working really, really hard to try to figure out the best solution, because in the new world of COVID, this may happen again, and we don't want anybody else to suffer through the difficulties that these families have gone through over the last 2 weeks. So I appreciate the conversation this morning, and sometimes, though we are on opposite sides, we all do agree that our people need to get the assistance as necessary. So I want to thank my colleagues for highlighting it in the public domain, but the government is trying its best to find those solutions in as fast a time as we can. All right,
Minister, thank you.
Mr. Minister, I'd just like to ask you a question.
Yes.
How is it? By what method is the government policing the continuation and establishment of the lockdown with these families? Because it seems to me that I've seen in the media where some people who were in these houses have left their premises and went outside and communicate with other people and interact with other people. How is the government dealing with that problem?
Well, I wouldn't want to steal the thunder from my minister, and we will be having a press conference tomorrow, and I'm quite sure that will be addressed. But yes, we do recognize there have been some breaches, whether knowingly or not, as to the communication of how to handle an outbreak such as this. But public health has been advising on how to go forward with these types of situations, particularly when it comes to communication, so people know what to do if this ever happens again. But I'll leave it to the minister to answer that particular question as it's her responsibility.
Thank you, sir.
Minister, I just want to thank you for acknowledging the situation, and I'm happy to hear that. Hopefully, you will be addressing it, or the government will be addressing it in short order. As the 14 days are coming to an end, these persons will need easy access to assistance. And you also have my phone number, so if there's any way I can assist, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Will do, my brother. I appreciate it. And these are times when we have to work together to make sure our people get the necessary help.
So true. Minister, thank you very much for that. Top of the hour, headline news. When we return, we will have an additional 15 minutes with the Deputy Leader of the Opposition because he has other commitments. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 478 COVID-19 tests on Tuesday. 3 came back positive, all community spread. The vaccination clinic will be open today at Kamana Bay from 10 until 2 and 4 to 7:30 p.m. Also at the Aston Ruddy Center this morning through noon. Angry scenes have broken out at Haiti's main airport after migrants were deported to the country from the U.S. On Tuesday, migrants at the airport in Port-au-Prince rushed back towards the plane that arrived on while throwing shoes at the jet. Last week, and the U.S. started flying out migrants from a Texas border town, which had seen an influx in recent weeks. About 13,000 would-be immigrants have gathered under a bridge connecting Del Rio in Texas to Ciudad Acuña in Mexico. And Joe Biden has played down the chances of a post-Brexit free trade deal between the U.S. and the U.K. as he held talks with Boris Johnson at the White House. The U.S. president said he would discuss the issue, quote, a little bit with the U.K. prime minister, adding, quote, we're going to have to work that through. Downing Street said a direct deal with the U.S. remained a, quote, priority, but U.K. ministers are pondering joining an existing North American trade pact instead. Those are your headlines. I'm Kersley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. And if I sound like a broken record, it is because at some juncture, new listeners may join us. I always like to let them know who's in the studio with me rather than just picking up the conversation again and then people say, oh, well, who's OC talking to today? So in the studio with me, Dr.Steve McField, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Joey Hew, and Member of Parliament, Mr. David Wight. And we're going to throw the mic over to Mr. Wight at this point.
Thank you again. You know, with all the sadness and worries that's going on with the COVID, there's some good stories that is happening. And I mean, I'm involved plenty with sports, so there's some good sports stories. But also, I would just like to thank, before I go on and say anything, just thank the government for when the hurricane or whatever they call the tropical storm Grace came, and there was so much destruction. They got on board quick and gave each constituency allowance to go out and get the trees cut down and then cleaned up, you know. And so many people have been so happy when you go there and cut the trees and clean up their yard. It's unbelievable to see the happiness of the people when you do it. So that's a good story. But then also I'd like to congratulate the women, the Cayman's women under 20 football team. When they went away, they won the 2 games. They beat Bahamas 2-0. And then they turned around and beat Anguilla 3-0. So that's a good story to come out of sports. So, I mean, there are good things that are happening here.
Yes, and of course, I'm being overshadowed by the COVID-19 situation.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we have 2 callers, and I'm sure you want to hear from our listening audience as well. So, should we grab those callers? First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Dr. Steve. Good morning, Deputy Opposition Leader, and good morning, MP Wight.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Dr. Steve, I had a barrage of questions for you, but I'll have to save them for another day.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't realize that the 2 members from the opposition would be in. So my question is for the 2 of them. And I just want to ask both of you if you would support mandating the vaccine, whether you were the government now or as the opposition, would you support mandating the vaccine? I'll hang up and you can answer me, okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. We're going to grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen, and distinguished Mr. Dr. McField. How are you, sir? Glad to hear you back.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And this Mr. Hew and David and OC's always there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just a couple of quick questions. I'll ask and then I will hang up and you all can answer. Is there still issuing work permits for people to come on the island when there is no work? That's one. And CETA, along with the Chamber of Commerce, are saying they're working together to force the government to open. Do you all support that? Because I haven't found any place else around the world that other companies coming in demanding the government. And my last question is do you support a people's referendum for the opening of this Cayman Islands? Because there is a lot of people that is thinking about it, and I would like to ask anybody that are interested that we can get together, because this is a serious situation. We got a lot of people, and Mr. Connor, you know, you're the Bermuda representative here, and you know that the Bermuda now is, I understand, is planning to close down again. So why do we open and then we got to close down? And again, as I congratulate the previous government 100%, and this government here, and I just hope that they do not bend to these companies, because these companies really don't have no love for where they are. So you all have a good day, and I'll wait to answer. Do you support?
We have the question. We have them. Thank you very much, caller, gentlemen. First caller wanted her question. Yeah.
I would just firstly say that I don't think, as the minister, as the deputy opposition leader, Mr. Hew said, you can't mandate for everybody, because there are cases where people can't take it. But I would definitely encourage people to take it. And I would just use why I'm saying that, I would use a quick example is that I know a family here in Cayman, a Caymanian family, and he was married, one of the brothers were married to an American lady, and they went away for vacation, and the grandparents where they were staying became ill, and they went to the hospital and they were tested positive for COVID. The wife now, she started to feel a little funny, so they decided now he and her were going to go and take a test, and they both had COVID. But the one that had the vaccination, the husband, he was less affected by anything. He didn't even feel away when he went to the hospital. It was because his wife was feeling away, who hadn't had the vaccination, nor did the grandparents where they were staying. And that's why they ended up going and taking the test. And so it seems like the vaccination does help. So I would encourage people to take the vaccination. But as Mr. Hew said, I don't think you can mandate it for everybody.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. Deputy Leader?
Yeah, thank you, Osi. And yeah, I don't support mandating vaccines or mandatory vaccines for Caymanians. I think that's a personal choice. This is your country where you live. You have the right under the Constitution to make choices for yourself. I would certainly encourage persons to take the vaccines. To take it even a bit further, I know that there are some persons who are absolutely against taking vaccines, or in fact perhaps even against other medications. But there are others who perhaps would prefer a different vaccine. And I know that there are some doctors, and I think even But I'll just say that there are some doctors who feel that they should have the ability to offer different vaccines to different persons, ones that they, and if you do go to your doctor to say, should I take the vaccine, is your first question. Can I take it safely? And if the answer is yes, here in Cayman, they don't have an option to say which vaccine would be best for me, because we've only approved one vaccine. And I do believe that there are differences in the vaccines, and some people would prefer one over the other. I do believe that it would be beneficial to have the person vaccinated no matter what vaccine they use. But here we've made that decision that we're going to stick with one vaccine. I think it's something that should be reviewed. Persons that come from overseas will receive any vaccine they want, and then they're able to come and visit here, work here, even if they do the 14-day quarantine. So Caymanians should probably be given that option as well. Work permits are different. You're choosing to come here to work. And if the government requires you to have a vaccine to come here to work, then you have an option. You can decide not to come. So I have no issue in supporting mandatory vaccines for work permit holders, or perhaps even moving forward for new applications. But you are a resident, you live here, you're Caymanian, this is your home, you should have the right to make that choice.
Now, I'm going to stick a question in there before you answer the other one. If our vaccination rate was not at the level that we're at, would you maintain the same position as far as mandating a vaccine? And if our infection rate was higher, would you maintain the same position?
I probably would, yes, I would, and then I would also still encourage the government to consider, or encourage Dr. Lee or whomever to consider allowing other vaccines to be administered by the private sector as well. We go right back to Dr. Tomlinson. This is a gentleman, a doctor in our community who has that sort of influence over persons. There are other doctors on the island, and that is my message to everyone. And this morning I was having a conversation with someone. If you believe in going to a doctor, if you believe in your doctor, if you believe in medicine, whatever science, then go see your doctor and have a discussion with your doctor about it. Don't listen, it's great for the premier to say, go get vaccinated. It's great for me to go say get vaccinated. It's great for you to say it every morning on the show. If you're not comfortable, go and talk to your doctor. So I believe that I would still, people have very, very strong convictions, and I certainly support the vaccine. I got the vaccine, but there might be other things that I do, that I have to think, are we going to set this precedence? Suppose there's something else comes up that I have very, very, very strong convictions about that I don't want the government to force it on me. So you have to consider, sometimes you have unintended consequences of our decisions, and that could be one of them.
And the referendum question.
There's a couple of things I want to say. At no time should a work permit be given to anyone if there's no job on the island for them. Yeah. So the law is supposed to take care of that. At one stage we closed the borders, that there were no longer any work permits or anything, but I think life goes on, and if immigration or CBC is doing their job, then persons should not be coming here. So with no work. I get that. I know it happens, but it shouldn't happen. Referendum? No, I think the way the government, and we spoke about it very early in the show, it is now for the government to make people feel confident about what we're going to do. And the first step in doing that is to let people know, or provide an expectation to individuals. Now, when the government does that, if the country as a whole feels that we do not agree with the government, there are several ways they can go. One is to go a referendum against the government, or a referendum asking the question, should we open or should we not open? But I think we're in a position now, and I feel that the community, as I move about the community, persons are concerned about the opening, but persons are more concerned about the unknowns involved in the opening. And I think that's the message we've got to work on.
Okay. Can we grab one more call before you gentlemen leave us?
Sure.
Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. I'm going to ask you to be as brief as possible because I want to give our two guests an opportunity for some closing comments. Go right ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Seeing that there might be quite a large amount of money which we have to be found to take care of all the individuals who have to remain in quarantine 14 days, in some cases longer. I am not sure there may already be something in place for this. I'm just not aware of it, so I'm going to ask the question. What happens about individuals who are traveling for anything other than, say, medical reasons, or, returning to school, university, or in some cases, an emergency? A family member overseas, critically ill, or having passed or something. Those who travel for vacation or otherwise and have to to come back and be in quarantine, would it be incumbent upon the government then to pay for those individuals, or they should be prepared to take care of themselves?
Okay, we have. With you?
No, I think the latest regulations are still, if you have not traveled, if you travel for medical reasons, you have proof from your doctors, or to take your children to and from educational facility, then you have to pay for your own quarantine, or you have to find your own quarantine facilities. If you travel to see a doctor for medical reasons that were not available here, so you had a referral overseas, if you travel to take your kids to and from school, or if you travel as a part of to represent the country or government businesses, then the government will cover your expenses for the quarantine. And I believe that even when you are put in a government facility because you've reached your quarantine,
government covers that.
I think they charge you for it.
Okay.
They try to collect it anyway.
We'll try to find that. We'll try to find out on that one. Okay. I want to give both of you opportunity for some closing comments, starting with you, Mr. Wight.
Thank you, OC, for having us here. And in closing, there's just a couple little birthdays I would like to say.
Sure.
My niece is Alyssa, her birthday is today. A very good friend of ours from Northside, Linda Brown, her birthday is today. And then a good friend of ours, T.D. Moore, his birthday is today. Okay. And then Miss Alvernis was yesterday.
Yeah, Wawa, yes.
Yeah, Wawa, yes. But also, I would like to finish by congratulating Miss Cayman Georgina Kerford.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara and I, she worked with us during the campaign, and she was, a really, really nice young lady. And she came and asked if we would help sponsor her, and Barbara and I went in together and sponsored her. So we are extremely proud that she's now Miss Cayman, and we just offer all our love and then help going forward.
Okay, excellent.
Congratulations.
Mr. Deputy?
Thank you, O.C. and Smithfield. It was a pleasure being in this morning. Again, I hope that, for me at the top of my mind is for my constituents and others in Georgetown that are going through this quarantine period, and we just want to ensure that no one has been falling through the cracks, and that there are welfare checks being done on those individuals, and that there's assistance for persons who may find themselves in financial difficulties at the end of this quarantine period, whether it's 14 or 28 days, who knows. Again, my office number is 949-0055. If we can be of any assistance or to try to get information or to pass on information for individuals, please, give us a call. Ms. Lynette is there Monday through Friday. Other than that, also, I just want to, something I didn't touch on was the support for small businesses, and now with the extension of the closure of the borders. I noticed that the Center for Business Development will be offering some assistance to water sports or to tour operators, both on land and on the water. But there are a lot of other tourism-related businesses that are struggling right now, and I think the government really need to have a look at that. There are persons that run Airbnbs, true, proper Airbnbs, where they're there as a host. Those persons have been overlooked, and I think they should have some support, and there might be need for some relief for those persons who offered places for rent for Airbnb as well, that invested their savings in accommodations to take part in what is the biggest movement in the world, tourism-wise. And so, I do have concerns about those industries, and I hope that those listening this morning, the government will take them on board and ensure that we do have some support being offered to those individuals as well. Otherwise, I wish everyone a safe afternoon, and I continue to thank God for our blessings despite the challenges we've seen over the last couple of weeks. We're still in the middle of hurricane season. I know that you remind us that we must continue to be thankful for being spared thus far, and look forward to being back on the show again soon.
Okay, sure. And Mr. Wight, you thank me for allowing you on. Just want you to know Wednesdays is for the opposition, so Wednesdays always reserved for you if you want to be here as well. Folks,
thank you.
Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. When we return, conversation will continue with Dr. Steve McField, so don't change that dial.
Are you feeling sick, but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough and sore throat, to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza, open Monday to Friday 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
Medical lab services in Cayman. MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle, and with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design and a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Optical Outlook Canadian Village location has moved. Same great services and products, new location. We've moved to Anderson Square in central Georgetown. It's a much larger space with dedicated parking. Please call us on 746-2020 to make your appointment at our new location today. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Please come see the difference with Optical Outlook, Cayman's premier optical provider.
Join us on Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. on Radio Cayman for The Business Buzz. The Business Buzz is produced by Susan Watson and hosted by Nita Khan, who brings her own unique, enthusiastic, and engaging perspective to The Business Buzz. Tune in as we put a spotlight on a wide cross-section of businesses in the Cayman Islands. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. on Radio Cayman.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware, custom designed closet and storage solutions, organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
The Lions Club of Grand Cayman Breakfast is back this Saturday, September 25, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. Enjoy a tasty Caribbean breakfast of fried fish and fritters, liver and onions, ackee and saltfish, as well as turtle gumbo, starting at only $12. Come out, help support your community. The Lions Club of Grand Cayman supports sight screening, prostate and colon cancer awareness, Miss Teen, Spelling Bee, and so much more. Get your Caribbean breakfast and support the Lions Club of Grand Cayman in their community efforts this Saturday, September 25, starting at 7 a.m. at the Lions Community Center. To better protect the community, hand sanitizer will be available, and Caribbean breakfast lovers should wear a mask.
For the record with Orrett Connor.
For information that matters. For the record with Orrett Connor continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Doc, one of our callers actually open up the door and that mandate thing that we want to share, with them. And I'm going to ask you to start off by reading the position. I think it's more of an op-ed than anything else in one of the St. Lucia, newspaper in St. Lucia.
Yeah, just let me find it.
Okay. I'll find it as well. Meanwhile, you've found it, Doc? Because I can read something else I can share something. This person wrote and said, good morning to you and your guests. When the question is asked about opening up, the government justifies their action by stating, quote, we can't stay closed forever. I suspect this is for economic reasons. Can your guests confirm, and they have left now unfortunately, and share if thorough economic analysis has been done on, one, how long can our current finances last us? Two, if we open our borders and more Caymanians and tourists need hospital beds, do we have the staff and the space to care for them? Three, what is the average cost to the country to care for a hospitalized COVID patient? Four, so far, no country has opened up without closing down again. What makes us so different? I think those are excellent points that that writer, that listener has. Unfortunately, our guests are not here to respond to that. This other one says, good morning. Is quarantine expected to be a long-term solution? Examples worldwide show containment is not possible. is the Health Services Authority testing for antibodies in the children testing positive and not showing any symptoms and not able to be vaccinated? I think I did hear Dr. Lee mention something about antibodies. I am not too sure about that particular one, but I don't really have an answer for that, but I think Dr. Lee did mention something about antibodies. There was some, were you able to find it, Doc?
Yes.
Got it? Okay,
yes.
okay. Go right ahead.
Yes. This article is about mandatory vaccination, and it's about mandatory vaccination in Antigua and Barbuda. And it states, the Cabinet of Antigua and Barbuda has announced new COVID-19 policies that are meant to introduce mandatory vaccination for all government employees, including those in the public service, statutory corporations, and companies in which the government owns majority shares. Beginning with Monday, September the 20th, these employees are being asked to stay at home until they can present proof of vaccination. All unvaccinated employees who fall under this measure will also be required to remain at home until they can prove that they have taken the COVID-19 vaccine. Those who do not comply with these requirements have been told that they will not be paid salary or wage for the period of non-compliance with the current policy. The policy is expected to stay in effect indefinitely. Until Cabinet is advised by health officials that the COVID-19 situation is under control, these policies affecting unvaccinated public workers entering onto government employment places shall remain in effect. A precise date for the end of these announced policies is therefore not yet determined, the Cabinet notes read. The Cabinet said it decided to alter several of its policies in order to speed the achievement of herd immunity before year's end. To achieve this, the Cabinet has also clamped down on beach access and has announced that beginning Monday, beaches are to close at noon until 5 a.m. daily. In addition, all pleasure crafts, fetes, parties, and entertainment events and excursions around the coastal waters and offshore islands are suspended immediately until September 29, 2021. Meanwhile, all arriving passengers, including returning nationals and residents, are required to have received at least the first dose of a vaccine approved by the appropriate authorities in Antigua and Barbuda. Informal public gathering are to be restricted to members of the same household. Bus drivers, conductors, and taxi drivers are required to be vaccinated effective October the 1st, 2021. Failure to comply with the current policy will result in restrictions to operate, and taxi drivers, vendors, and merchants. Oh, I lost that.
Okay.
And taxi drivers, vendors, and I've lost that.
Okay, we'll find that. We have two callers, and also we'll grab the callers in the meantime. First call, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Doctor.
Can I just finish that? It says taxi drivers and merchants at the port of entry are to be vaccinated.
Okay, got you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, caller.
Yes. I tend to agree with that decision by the governments of those two places. We have got to realize that this is a very serious thing, and I don't think we're talking about people who can be vaccinated, not those who cannot because of health issues and so forth.
Right.
Your personal preferences, religious or otherwise, should not hold the rest of the population, hostage. Sort of. It's a very serious thing. So I think that is the right decision to make. And you can even go further with it, in that people who refuse to be vaccinated, therefore they can stay home. If the government wants to pay them some sort of, money to compensate them and so forth. But we have to think of this thing in serious terms, I think.
But sir,
we have to move towards the choice of vaccines.
But sir, do you realize that that mandatory vaccination only applies to government employees and people who work in the government? It doesn't apply to the private sector.
General population.
Yes, okay.
Yes, I understand that, but I think we can maybe take it a step further. If things get more serious, we have more community spread and so forth in those countries and here, we have to really get a grip on it. But I think we have to wait for the choice of other vaccines. There's a good point to see to that. I'd ask that those, of course, would have to be paid for by the people, since these are provided for us by the British government. Or maybe the government would be willing to sort of subsidize some of the cost of it to people who are, can't really afford it. But there are lots of people here, I won't say lots, but there are quite a few who can easily afford the vaccines, that all vaccine types of vaccines that the doctors would recommend that are acceptable everywhere in the world or so forth. But the point of I'd like to ask one question about the and I'm against that referendum.
Go right ahead. Ask the question, Colin.
Yes, about the census. When we're taking a census, I don't understand this confidentiality thing about it. I don't. But because it would be good to instruct the immigration if there are people here who were staying or illegal or so forth. It might provide some kind of information on that. But the thing is this: are they going to state on it like other countries do that this person is an indigenous or generational person? It can easily be proved here in a small place like we are with a small population, and say on it generational citizens, GC or something. It should matter. It should matter. These things to me should matter in the long run because we're going to have this of some form of taxation that will include something like that.
We'll try to look on the form and see whether or not that any question is in relation to that. We'll let you know, caller. Thank you very much for that. Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, doctor.
You see how you people got back to me so quickly. I tell you, your faith in them is showing. They're on the ball.
I'm on that.
The call that I made for in terms of providing information about the COVID-19 protocols for Census. Yeah, they got back to me.
I said I am on that. I heard it. But the release that you read a while ago, which asked questions about the readiness of our government, if there's supposed to be an outbreak of this thing here.
Yeah, that was one of our listeners posed those questions, actually. Very good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. The questions asked was about the readiness. I think the physical and logistic readiness of the government. I hear him talking about hospital beds and all that, but he didn't speak anything of schools, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And I think that was leading us to consider the financial position of the government. But we'll know all that if we go ahead and tear down the walls of Jericho without any consideration of risk. And I know some people living in this Cayman Island, the only risk they know is a business risk. But there is a thing called risk to life. And what I want the government, this sitting government, to examine, my belief is, just following international media, is that people are now suing some governments and trying to find a way to it looks like they're trying to find a way to bring class actions against governments who don't appear to be doing the right thing when their family members are dying. Okay. And I want my government to know that they might do anything for us, but when they greedy people put pen to paper and drag it to court, they can't pay. I want them to know that the greedy people aren't usually us. We're in this for the long haul. This is our little plot. They don't like postage stamp side, but this is our little plot. And thank God, still I believe the majority of Caymanians, not everyone, but the majority of us, see this in a different light from the greedy people. Not telling the government about not opening, that is not the position that it takes. But the government seems to be cautious and everything that you would want them to be on risk with when it comes to people's money and also on risk when it comes to people's lives. And I think that's the road that they should continue to travel down and not allow people to frighten them into positions, because I expect the government to be here for me, but I also expect the government for me to be here for the government, and I think that's a position all Caymanians should do.
Exactly.
And then I just want to ask you a question, caller. The present debate that's now in the media between I would say concerning including the opposition and the border open supporters. Do you think that the debate is about the health and safety of the people? Or is it based on making money first and the effects of the coronavirus last?
Doctor, you are educated. So hear me now. Greedy people. You can say anything, you know. Greedy people, and the people lacking in respect and gratitude to this country that they can find a high supply and have titles and have money in the bank. Because I know if they would have that in their country, they wouldn't be here in my country, which seems to be a country that can't get anything right. But they're all here, though. Okay, but I call them. That shouldn't road. I can understand that my grandfather would say greedy people. I know he would have. So
I want to ask you another question again, ma'am. You heard the leader of the opposition, the honorable leader of the opposition, state the opposition position for or against the mandate to mandate vaccine. So in Cayman now. And the article I read just a while ago in the Eastern Caribbean was about mandating the vaccines for government employees and government company employees and government organizations, people who work for the government, people who are providing a civil service to the people. At what level of infection and how many deaths attributed to the COVID-19 that would in Cayman that would what do you think that would trigger the decision to mandate the vaccine nationally in Cayman? Nationally,
none at all. Here's where my position is on that. If there is like one of our own doctors seems to be fighting a case for let us have more choice. I am for choice. And I don't really appreciate the government sitting down and not looking at that, and I think they're not looking at that. I am for choice. Plenty of the people we call anti-vaxxers say they want a choice. And I believe that we would get some of them out of the corner, their stubborn corners, because sometimes it's just stubbornness. But if you give them a choice, anywhere else they go with their argument. But I do believe people want choice. People want the true knowledge of what this new technology is as compared to what the world had long time ago. But I am for choice. I am for choice, and I am for locking down. And I am for all that. The government must do something to be the government and in leadership, and the risk should not be people's lives.
Got you. Thank you very much for that. Caller, Ms. Susan, we have how many callers on hold still? We have 3 callers on hold. We're going to make those the last 3 calls. You want to take one before we go to the break? We're going to take one now and 2 after the break. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, not the best, not the worst.
Good morning, yes.
But I'll be honest, I'm not trying to tell anyone to have a bad day, but all this stuff, you got to face life sometimes, And whatever they're talking about, this 666 and whatever else it is, I would be willing to do what they don't think. So, to be quite honest, I've been through a whole lot, and it don't matter to me about what marks or whatever beast or dragon or whatever it is. I'm willing to face that. I've faced a whole lot, and that's just life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much for that caller, folks. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, last 2 calls for the show. I have several WhatsApp messages. I hope I can share most of them with you. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, X-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Your path to recovery isn't like mine, but when you need a hand with a substance use disorder, reach out until you find one. For information on substance use disorders, including prevention and treatment referral, call the Department of Counseling Services, Caribbean Haven Residential Center at 947-9992 for information on treatment.
Know the risks of underage drinking and be prepared to have a conversation about them. Establishing yourself as a trustworthy source of information on alcohol will make your child more inclined to ask questions and look to you for support and guidance. For tips, log on to www.ndc.ky. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
Each Tuesday and Thursday from 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m.
The Tuesday and Thursday edition of the Business Buzz is brought to you by Optical Outlook. Visit them at their new location in Anderson Square. Telephone 746-2020. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook.
We all risk getting COVID-19 and spreading it to others, maybe without even realizing that we are sick. So, if you plan on visiting or going out with friends or family, remember these tips to keep you and your loved ones safe. Wash your hands regularly. Cover your coughs and sneezes. Maintain a safe social distance from other people. Avoid handshakes, hugs, and kisses with people that you don't live with. Contact the flu hotline if you have a cold or flu-like symptoms. Let's keep working together to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed. That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. Want to give some birthday shout-outs also for a good friend over in the back, Mr. Moxham, the bakery man, Mr. Lennox Moxham, celebrating a birthday today. We want to wish him a happy birthday. And Miss Ello is celebrating a birthday today as well. And just to mention, it was mentioned earlier that Awawa, our queen Awawa, yes, our queen in the Cayman Islands, she, like the Queen of England, has yes, 2 birthdays yes, that she celebrates. She celebrates the actual day of her birth, and she celebrates also the date that she was registered, that her parents registered. So our Queen Awawa has 2 birthdays as well. And we got 2 last callers for the morning. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, my friend? I was talking about you the other day. I hadn't heard from you in a long time.
Yeah, I used to talk on this a long time. Yeah, I'm calling about this morning, no, right on. And we showed up just the differences, right? Past and the future. So take the differences of it. Right? You can be detected enough, right? This will be an disease. You really organize yourself long-term contradiction, right? It will rapid of the fake, the corona, right? So it's what I'm from. But we can't be malicious, right?
Right.
All the time, some people like really get inclined or advanced or predispose of it, okay? And it's a propagation cycle, and all the time, the individual, despite a minor, mature or whatever, individual, for caution, right? Hygiene, sanitary, washing toilet, and it's such a commercial basis. Don't want to call this out. All of a sudden, I'm already in charge of leaders. I have that. Right? It's 22 in town.
Okay.
So, okay.
So that's 52?
52, yeah. Right? What was it, if you ever come with that, really, with Tata. With Cuban, come from Cuban doctors. You don't come from? It's not my point. You see?
Yep.
So, right now, this cool thing now. You open that office in airport in the zone, you only okay? And so far it's increasing, right? Here the thing, right? To wake up all. And I have closed up. I'm not going to start the rest of it. And today's my mother, she's neighbor.
Okay.
And also my grandma, like the neighbor in the block.
Okay, I want to wish them all a happy birthday to all of them. Yes. Great. All right, take care, my friend. Take care. Last caller for the morning. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Lucien. Good morning to the doctor.
Good morning.
Good to hear your voices. I don't call in that much more. I got something good to talk about. But anyway, what I want to talk about this morning is one of the things I'm just disappointed in is that, you got all these, you got more churches with capital on Facebook. And I had suggested to people that they've been involved in churches. Why not have a day of prayer for the whole island with all the churches that have at a certain time and get on their knees and ask God to do whatever is right for us here on this island? That would be something really spectacular, and I would love to see that. The other thing is, I was reading in I guess really important stuff. He's a doctor out of West Nile. He's called Dr.Steve. That I trust him, and he's a Christian guy, and he said he took his Hippocratic oath. He wasn't doing it to make money. He tried, he didn't. But he is saying that all of the vaccines, and he talked about Pfizer, and he talked about this one and the other one. And if you read the things that he's talking about, these vaccines and the company that does them, some of them didn't even make vaccines. And yet, they're out there, got their name, there's some of the vaccination stuff like that. I have never been afraid of taking vaccine because I remember I had swine flu and I had all the things, from the time I was a kid. I would take
your point, caller, your point.
The point is that what I understand, the FDA has approved, the CDC approved, any of these vaccines that are being done. And I wonder if, what's happening there, where that is. And I hope and pray to God that we will, as barbarian people, get on our knees and give God thanks for, too many things, but ask Him to lead us in the right path. That's all I want.
Okay.
Have a good day, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You do the same as well. Okay, so one of our listeners written and said they actually wanted me to ask the members of Parliament while they were here if they are aware that there also quite a number of persons who were also at the flu clinic on the Monday when the school child was also there, and they were called on Tuesday morning to be told that they had to return home for 15 days. And the person says that they were included in that group. They also say that their entire family is in lockdown, but they have not received not even a telephone call since that date. No food support. Not even a call to check if we are dead or alive. God help us if this is the true tried and tested system that government has in place to deal with a COVID-19 outbreak. My wife had just started a new job. Now she's off for 15 days and not even an email has been received. So I can send that on to her new employer. Person also says that they're self-employed. They've missed quite a few deadlines due to COVID. What about monetary and grocery assistance for those people like myself who were just at the Georgetown flu clinic on the Monday morning when that school child was brought there? And they also point out that their daughter has also missed good days from her school, all due to the same incident as well. So wanted to point that out to you. And I believe I received a WhatsApp message from Mr. Okay, that's completely different. Doc, I found, this is too long for me to read now. I found the other one on St. Lucia that I forwarded to you as well, but we'll have that for another day, maybe Friday, depending on if we don't have any guests on Friday. Meantime, I'm going to share some of these other WhatsApp messages. This one says, Dr. McField, on your question to the caller about the opening of the border, is whether or not it's about money or safety of the people on COVID-19, and they say that their personal opinion is that it's all about the money and not our safety. And I think that is what one of the things that the representatives from the Chamber of Commerce, as well as representatives from the Cayman Islands Hotel and Tourism Association, need to convince the people that it is more than just about money as well. This one also says, given the imminent departure of Dr. Lee from CMO post, has there been a deputy CMO to understudy him, or will the ministry be starting from scratch? Not sure, but I would imagine they've been given sufficient notice that he will leave in January. When it comes to recruitment, that's not a whole lot of time. Maybe the National Health Services in the UK, since we're still an overseas territory of the United Kingdom, maybe they will send someone down here on secondment to us to assist us. Not sure, but it would be good to hear from the government in terms of what steps are being taken to replace the CMO as well. Doc, I want to give you some opportunity for some closing comments. This one, before I go there, this one says, I agree with this caller about the choice because a lot of people are not against vaccine, but are against the new mRNA technology as well. So that's the point that other caller had. Over to you, Doc.
Okay. So far, we have been discussing about the mandate decision to mandate vaccines in other jurisdictions. We heard the leader of the opposition, the honorable leader of the opposition, say that the opposition is not in favor of mandating vaccine in Cayman. Mm-hmm. If the outbreak is not contained to the point where we can get back to where we were, and even if the border opens, even if the border opens, there is they say that there will be the question of whether or not we will have multiple cases of infection. If that occurs, I would like to throw out to your listeners the question: how many people then would have to be infected, or how many people would have to die before a government would mandate vaccines nationally, not just for government employees, but nationally. And what would be the economic, social, and the political and the constitutional principles that would result from such a vaccine mandated in our country? Mm-hmm. The other thing that I was looking at is the how if it's mandated nationally, or if it's not mandated nationally, how do you strike the balance between the rights, for instance, of an employer who has a duty of care for the safety of his employees, as well as the customers, and the rights of the employees to their bodily, personal, and integrity, and the ownership of their body and their self-determination? How do you strike that balance? Okay. That's what I would like to put out.
And we have some of those legal debates that hopefully on Friday, if you don't have court, and I don't have anyone scheduled so far, that we can get into depth into those.
And another thing, what about minor rights? Mm-hmm. And could the government or the child make decisions contrary to the parents' non-consent?
Yes, yeah.
Those are some of the questions I would like to we would like to discuss and get some debate on that.
Okay, and for those listeners, especially the caller who called in and posed this question about mandatory vaccination, there's an op-ed in an online newspaper called The Voice in St. Lucia. If you Google time to rethink the no mandatory vaccination policy. If you Google that, you will find a nice editorial about the issue of COVID-19 vaccination mandates. And at the end of the day, what the last part of that article, that op-ed says, our question to the government: should it be found necessary for the public health or safety that mandatory COVID-19 vaccination is the way to go, will government continue to hold fast to its no mandatory vaccine policy? With the havoc the Delta variant is causing to date, should another variant more transmissible than Delta surface, will government continue to hold fast to its decision not to go down the path of mandatory vaccination? This is a train of thought that says, there is a train of thought that says compulsory vaccination is an assault upon a person and a violation of due process in that it interferes in a person's right to care for his or her body in a way that he or she deems best. But is individual liberty absolute, especially if it endangers the common good? Should not liberty, meaning real liberty, include the duty to restrain from harming others as well? And I encourage you to go ahead and read that article as well. Folks, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Dr. Steve McField for being here. Look forward to discussing with you, hearing from you on Friday. Have a great day. Please stay safe. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call